Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're having a good one. Just caught this that Aptera had dropped a new video, and I am going to show it to you. A very interesting video, but it is so long, I'm going to have to do it in two parts. So let's go ahead and get into this. Welcome back to my channel. It's good to have you here. We welcome you to Free Power. Thank you for joining us. And Aptera is, it seems like they're coming out with a good bit of information now. And I just want to show this video to you because I was a little surprised by it. So let's check half of this video out, and I'll put the other half out when I get a chance. All right, let's get into it.
Hi, everybody. John McElroy here, talking all things automotive. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Steve Fambro, the co-CEO of Aptera, and I'm really excited to talk to you, Steve. Thanks for taking the time today.
Well, John, it's a pleasure and an honor. I've watched your show for years. I'm a car guy. I haven't worked in the industry except Aptera, but I follow just about everything with automobiles, and have been following you for quite a long time.
Well, that's great to hear. And likewise, I mean, I've been following Aptera for probably longer than I should be following it because, we've all been waiting, to see this vehicle get on the road. It's such a cool looking vehicle. And, everyone's been, just chomping at the bit to see these things. Where do you stand right now?
Well, right now, we are, and you have to forgive me if I maybe seem a little cagey with my answers now that we're a public company.
And we'll get into that as well.
Right. Well, I have to make sure I don't disclose anything that hasn't been disclosed previously. So we do have our validation assembly line up and running. We've got the first vehicle coming through that line right now. In fact, it just moved from station 5 to 6 this morning, which was a big deal. It is, I would say, its completion of this line is imminent within a few days. There's 9 more behind it, and that completes the first set of validation vehicles. And this is for things like suspension, geometry, handling, braking, not necessarily durability, not crash tests. That's the next set of vehicles, but it's the first set that's built off tooled parts and off tooled fixtures to align the body, align the suspension, help assemble all of those things, built by work instructions, and as non-engineer involved as possible. So it's a big step for us.
Building in sequence as you might do once you really hit production.
Yes, not station builds, but sort of one-piece flow, if you will. A traditional line, albeit without any automation.
Mm-hmm. So validation, next step is what? Testing and then potentially saleable units?
Yeah, so basically all of this year to get through DVP&R, some other certifications.
Okay, no, acronym city there. What do you mean DVP&R?
Design validation. Basically, for our audience, there's a step that every automotive or vehicle manufacturer has to do, which is make sure what you designed and built lives up to the standards that you designed. And sometimes that's an iterative process. And the system, the vehicle as a system, has varying degrees of maturity. Some of the electrical systems have been in operation, let's say, and being tested for over a year, like the BMS and things like that. Some of the things are newer, and they require a much more fulsome set of validation because of their maturity. But I would say that is, I don't know of any vehicle that starts validation or at any one time where every single system is of equal maturity. Some things are far more mature than others, and we're no different.
Yeah. You mentioned crash testing. Is that something you do yourself, or do you have to send it out to get crashed?
No, that's not a self-certified thing, and it's really for our airbag manufacturer. The airbag manufacturer has to do it just as a matter of calibrating that system. And so that's part of their whole, part of the NRE of designing that in is they need a number of vehicles to calibrate the sensors and the bags, and pretty standard.
Yeah. As you know, simulation's pretty good these days. Have you done any crash simulations, and how's that look?
We have done a number of simulations. I would say there's the commercial finite element analysis programs that do dynamic and static. I'm really not allowed to talk about all the details of that. I will just say it has been done, and I would say we are confident on our path and we're moving forward. But the fidelity of the tools, as you probably know, the software tools is extraordinary, especially when the materials are so well characterized. You know, aluminum, our particular kind of composite, not all composites, but the carbon SMC that we're using, it's very well characterized and understood. Therefore, it's able to be modeled.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into a little bit of why you have to be somewhat careful. You guys started trading on the NASDAQ late last year, right?
Yes, October last year. We started that whole process about a year beforehand, and we decided, you know, based on, at the time, the market conditions and where the industry was going, we felt it would be better for the company to do a direct listing as opposed to a traditional kind of IPO. So with the direct listing, we make the stock tradable first, and then we go out, as we are now, and sell a block of stock to investors. And so it's maybe a backwards from how a lot of people do it. Some people do it this way, but there's a variety of reasons that it was just our management team and finance team felt it worked better for us.
Steve, I like that, you know, because when we look back now with 2020 hindsight, the SPAC stuff was a fiasco for most of the companies that rushed in to get a whole bunch of money, maybe not having laid the groundwork to have solid companies. Maybe the same sort of thing with an IPO, not as risky as a SPAC. But kudos to you guys. What was some of your thinking of doing a listing and not an IPO or SPAC?
Well, I would say in terms of management of the company, Chris and I, my co-founder, co-CEO Chris, he's a finance guy. He's a finance degree. I have an electrical engineering degree. And so our brains work differently, and that's why we complement each other. So I don't second guess a lot of the things in finance. He doesn't second guess a lot of the things in electrical engineering. But the CFO and Chris and the VP of Finance, Blake, they crafted the strategy based on all the market indications that they were seeing at the time. And they felt it would just be the best way to not only raise money, but to, protect from dilution and all kinds of other things. So
yeah. The good old-fashioned way.
Yeah, they give you a better answer than I could.
Right. So I imagine if you're doing validation builds right now, you've pretty much got your supply chain nailed down. You've got your build process nailed down. Is that right?
I would say build process is not nailed down. Some of these work instructions are brand new. And so what we're finding is, well, they're created by the engineers wrote them, and now you've got technicians trying to build them. And so they may come to a point where they say, well, I'm supposed to drill a hole here. There should be a marking in the body from the mold where the hole goes. You know, the hole should have been drilled before the body even gets here. You know, we don't, 'cause our whole thesis is basically architecting the factory to deal with like semi-knockdown kits. Mm-hmm. So there's no welding here. We don't want any bonding except the windshield. There's no painting. Our goal is to have the body in white, or as we call it, the BINC, the body in carbon, the frame, the suspension components, all arrive as semi-knockdown kits. We bolt it together either here in California or wherever globally we need to. Oh,
interesting. I haven't heard of talk of global sales. Can you give us some ideas of what your plans might be?
Well, again, being careful not to disclose.
Understood.
It's not public, but it's been no secret that we've spent time in the Middle East, and we've spent time in Saudi Arabia, and that's been public. We've spent time in Abu Dhabi and the UAE, and of course in Italy, and we have global interest in the vehicle. We've got 50,000 reservations. Most of those are in North America, but in the other places in the world, we haven't really advertised in those regions. We haven't spent any resources to try and get pre-orders or reservations in those regions. People just hear about it and they want to reserve a vehicle. So we are mindful that there's lots of interest outside North America, but we are laser focused on delivering units in North America first.
I like your approach of really being an assembler. You know, as you mentioned, no welding, no bonding, and the like. I imagine no stamping, no machining per se, too, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, our body and carbon are being. I don't have the model here. This is a complete model, but instead of about 200 steel parts like a typical body in white has, we've got about 6 parts of forged carbon fiber, and they go together pretty quickly. They go together in an assembly jig, and then once they're bonded and riveted, then they're out to the next step. So I'm managing fewer parts. I'm assembling fewer parts. These parts come out of the mold with all of the surface features and everything else. There's some small post-processing after the mold where they have holes and other features machined into them, but it's a very different way to build a body. I think it's a better way. I think it's a cheaper way, and fewer parts is always better in my opinion.
Right.
And that's really been our ethos from the beginning.
So it sounds like John has known about Aptera since they first started back in 2005, and he knows a good bit about what Aptera is about, and now he's getting Steve to tell his whole story as far as how everything is going with Aptera now. But of course, he is just like everybody else and want to know basically when these are going to hit the road. Like all of us, we want to know exactly when they're going to hit the road. But we'll just have to be patient and wait and see. But the rest of this is really good as well. I think you'll like it, and I'm going to come out with it as soon as I get an opportunity to make it. But anyway, it looks like we are getting a lot of things from Aptera now. So more good things to come. Anyway, I hope you liked the video, and don't forget, if you're new here, please don't forget to hit the like, ring the bell, subscribe, and you'll catch all my videos when they come out. All right, you guys take care. We'll catch you in the next video. Adios.